Hi, I'm Helmut Licht. Welcome to my third video on the Vertical Zodiac. In this particular video, I will show you something that has never been shown before in the history of astrology. I will show you how during certain times planets will jump, sometimes 2 houses, 3 houses, sometimes clear across the chart. Alright, let's jump right into it. We know that on March 20th, the Sun has a 0 declination, and then its northern declination increases up to its maximum. Then this northern declination decreases back down to 0, and then its southern declination increases up to its maximum of about 26 degrees, and then it decreases back down to 0. This happens every year, every decade, every century. It never changes. We also know that as the Sun moves through this declination cycle, it moves to the zodiac. As this northern declination increases, it moves through Aries, Taurus, Gemini. When it decreases, it moves through Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. When its southern declination increases, it moves through Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius. And when its southern declination decreases, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. I explained to you that there's a never-changing relationship between the Sun's declination and the Sun's position in the zodiac. By this I mean, whenever the Sun has a declination of 14 north, 28 increasing, it is always at 8 Taurus. This is also known as the solar longitude equivalent. And here are a few more examples just to drive home the point. Whenever the Sun has a declination of 10 north, 17 decreasing, it will always be at 3 Virgo, 19. If it has a declination of 14 south, 22 increasing, it will always be located at 8 Scorpio, 37. And if it has a declination of 6 south, 46 decreasing, it will always be located at 12 Pisces, 44. No matter what year, no matter what decade, no matter what century, this never changes. For you to understand the principle of the vertical zodiac, I will now restate this situation in different ways. Whenever the Sun has a declination of 6 south 46 decreasing, it is always at 12 Pisces 44. If Saturn would have a declination of 6 south 46 decreasing, it will be at 12 Pisces 44 in the vertical zodiac. This goes for any planet. Any planet that has a declination of 6 south 46 decreasing is located at 12 Pisces 44 in the vertical zodiac. Not the regular zodiac, but in the vertical zodiac. I call these vertical zodiac positions the vertical zodiac twins. And you might think of them as declination twins. Looking at this example one more time, I could say that if Saturn's declination were 6 south 46 decreasing, its vertical zodiac twin would be located at 12 Pisces 44. With respect to the other planets, the Sun is unique in that it constantly swings back and forth between its 2 maximum declinations, always reaching the maximum before reversing its motion. This created a problem with respect to the vertical zodiac. Most of the other planets will at times go beyond the Sun's maximum declination, as Mars is doing right now. And then we had no way to relate them to the vertical zodiac. But in my second video, I showed you the solution to that problem. Here is Mars in 2014, in the very beginning. Its declination is south and increasing. And suddenly, at the end of February, it decides to change direction, and its declination is decreasing. Here is the graphic ephemeris for the same event. It shows 2014. In the beginning, Mars's declination is south increasing, and then it changes to south decreasing. Here you see the same event in a regular ephemeris table. On February 27th, Mars's declination was south 757, increasing. February 28th, it was 757.43, still increasing. But then on March 1st, its declination is 757.40. It is decreasing. Here we see that Mars's declination kept increasing until February 28th at 2 a.m., at which point it remained at 757.44 till 10 a.m. After 10 a.m., it started decreasing from 757.44 to 757.43. So it is safe to say that it changed directions on February 28th at 6 a.m. It changed direction from south increasing to south decreasing. To find Mars's vertical zodiac twin for these positions, we simply ask ourselves, where would the Sun be if it had a declination of 757 south increasing? Where would the Sun be if it had a declination of 757 south decreasing? And the reason for these two questions I illustrated at the beginning of this video. So let's one more time have a quick look. We also know that as the Sun moves through this declination cycle, it moves to the zodiac. As this northern declination increases, it moves through Aries, Taurus, Gemini. When it decreases, it moves through Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. When its southern declination increases, it moves through Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius. And when its southern declination decreases, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. When the declination of Mars's vertical zodiac twin was south and increasing, it must have been somewhere in Libra. However, when its declination changed to south decreasing, it had jumped from Libra to Pisces. Now, let's watch this in Intrepid. I have created a birth chart for February 20th, 2014, which is about 8 days before February 28th. It shows all the planets, but I only want to see Mars, so I eliminate the planet. And here's only Mars. Now this is a birth chart. I don't want a birth chart. I want a vertical zodiac transit chart. Here we go. And once again, it shows all the planets. I get rid of all the planets but Mars. Leaving only vertical zodiac Mars in the 11th house. I will now progress this chart one day at a time, beginning February 20th. February 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, and here comes the 28th, and Mars jumped clear across the chart from the 11th house down to the 4th house. And as promised, you have seen something that has never been shown in astrology before, a planet jumping almost clear across the chart. What I find most exciting and fascinating is that Mars jumped from 22 Libra 23 to 9 Pisces 37, which is an Antisha jump. You're actually seeing the Antisha live in action. An Antisha jump is when the pre-jump minutes and degrees plus the post-jump minutes and degrees add up to 30 degrees. In our case, the pre-jump degrees were 20 and the pre-jump minutes were 23. Add 9 degrees to 20 and you get 29. Add 37 to 23 and you get 1 more degree. 29 and 1 is 30. 30 degrees. Antissa jumps also occur between Earth and fire, such as Capricorn to Sagittarius, or Aries to Virgo, or Taurus to Leo, and also between air and water, Aquarius to Scorpio or vice versa, Pisces to Libra or vice versa, and Gemini to Cancer or Cancer to Gemini. Let's have a quick look at all the planets except the Moon in 2014 and see if they have any change in the direction of their declination. Here's Mercury. It has already had 2 jumps and then went out of orb in May, came back in the beginning of June, and don't forget that when a planet goes out of orb into the extra zodiac, there will be a change of direction there also, meaning there will be a jump. It came back into the vertical zodiac at the beginning of June, had another jump at the end of June, another one at the end of July, and then there'll be one coming up at the end of September or beginning of October, and then another one in the middle of October or toward the end of it, and then it's going back out of bounds at the end of November. Here is Venus. It has already had 3 jumps or changes of direction, one in January, one toward the end of February, and another one at the end of July. Looks like it's going to go out of bounds at the end of November. Here is Mars. Mars's declination also has already changed twice. Once at the end of February, and then another one. Looks like the beginning of May. It will go out of bound at the end of September and come back into the vertical zodiac somewhere in the middle of November. Mercury, Venus, and Mars, as you know, are the faster moving planets, and the effects of their jumps may not be as noticeable as those of the outer planets, the slower moving ones, Jupiter, Saturn, and especially Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, which will be next. Also note that the most dramatic jumps occur between Pisces and Libra, Aries and Virgo. A little less dramatic but still quite impressive are the jumps between Aquarius and Scorpio and Taurus and Leo. The smaller jumps occur between Capricorn and Sagittarius, Gemini and Cancer. Here is Jupiter's vertical zodiac twin in 2014. It has already had 1 change of declination direction, somewhere at the end of February and the beginning of March. And it will have another one coming up at the end of November and beginning of December, when its declination direction will change from north decreasing to north increasing. And here is Saturn's vertical zodiac twin in 2014, a slight jump in the beginning of February, and then another one just at the end of July, beginning of August. Sometimes when a vertical zodiac twin jumps, it may end up in an empty house, in which case that house would be affected by the jump. Other times, the vertical zodiac twin might end up aspecting planets, in which case those aspects have to be analyzed and considered naturally. Here is Uranus's vertical zodiac twin in 2014. It has 2 jumps, one like in June, July, and the second one at the end of the year. What we're going to do is now I will show you how these 2 jumps show up in the chart of the United States. So bear with me. I'm using the Sibley chart, July 4th, 1776, 4:50 p.m. local mean time, Philadelphia. In the inner ring, we have the birth chart. In the outer ring, we have the vertical zodiac transits for July 20th, 2014. Notice Uranus is in the 4th house. Now, on the 21st, Uranus has jumped into the 9th house. Let's do this again, in case you missed it. Here's the 20th of July, Uranus in the 4th house. And on the 21st, Uranus jumps into the 9th house. I will now eliminate all the planets but Uranus and Venus. We spoke about new aspects being formed. Notice, please, that the new Uranus is forming a square to Venus, whereas the old Uranus before the jump formed a sextile. I'm sure that some of you mundane astrologers can relate to that and interpret that. And here is Uranus' second jump in December, around the 19th. So here it goes back into the 4th house. And now it forms a trine to the ascendant. Here is Neptune 2014, and we see two jumps. One at the end of June and beginning of July, and the second one in November. And again, let's put these two jumps into the chart of the United States. The outer ring shows the vertical zodiac twins for June the 6th, 2014. And please note that vertical zodiac Neptune is in the 3rd house. One day later, it has jumped into the 10th house. And if you note the degrees and minutes of the new Neptune and the old Neptune, you will see that they add up to 30, which is an Antisha jump. The date is now November the 14th, 2014. Vertical zodiac Neptune has moved into the 11th house. And the day after, Neptune should be jumping back into the 3rd house. And here it is, in the 3rd house. And if you look at both degrees and minutes again of the old Neptune and the new Neptune, they also add up to 30 degrees. A perfect Antisha jump. Last not least, here is Pluto in 2014. It has a jump somewhere in March, and then another jump somewhere in either the end of November or beginning December. We'll narrow that down. And again, let's put these two jumps into the chart of the United States. Here are the vertical zodiac transits for April 9th, 2014. Vertical zodiac Pluto is in the 2nd house, and on April 10th, it has jumped into the 12th house. And again, if you add the degrees and minutes of the new Pluto to the degree and minutes of the old Pluto, it is again a perfect Antisha jump. Not only do transiting vertical zodiac twins jump, as you have just seen, but on rare occasions, a major progressed vertical zodiac twin will also jump. I will now show you one of those major progressed jumps in my life involving Saturn and its implications. Saturn, through Capricorn, rules the way I make my money. It was the year of 1966. I had just graduated from the Maryland Institute College of Art, applied for a job at Westinghouse, and Saturn jumped into the 10th house that same exact time. And I had my first really well-paying job with a big corporation, in their underseas division. Well, this concludes my third video on the Vertical Zodiac. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something, and I hope you will apply what you have learned in your daily astrology. In my next video, I will go into more detail explaining what the 4 declination cycles mean to me. By this I mean when a planet is increasing in northern declination, decreasing in the northern declination, increasing in the southern declination, and decreasing in the southern declination. Have a great day, and you can get my book on the Vertical Zodiac by going to Lulu, LULU.com, and search for me, Helmut Licht. Thank you.